Hello and welcome back. I'm Joseph Hoffman. Today is all about rhythm and beat. It's important to understand the difference and relationship between beat and rhythm. We've talked about this before, but we're due for a quick review. First, let's talk about beat. The beat in music is steady, like this. Rhythms, on the other hand, can have different patterns of faster or slower sounds in various combinations. Ba, 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 ba. Let's review some of the rhythms we've learned and how many beats they are worth. For example, the whole note is worth 4 beats. 4. But what if we took the whole note and cut it in half? Then we'd get 2 half notes. If a whole note is worth 4 beats, how many beats is each half note worth? If you said 2, you're correct. 2, 2. Now, what if you took a half note and cut it in half? That would give you quarter notes. Now, quarter notes are each worth 1 beat, which means that if you had 4 quarter notes, it's the same value as a whole note, which is also the same value as 2 half notes. Ta, 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 ta. To say that another way, the time it takes to do 4 quarter notes is the same amount of time it would take to do 1 whole note. So if you say 4, while I say ta, 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 we should finish at the same time. Now, what if we took a quarter note and cut it in half? That gives us eighth notes. They're called eighth notes because you can fit 8 of them in the time it takes to do 1 whole note. T, 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 T. You can see that every time we go down a row and cut our rhythmic value in half, it makes us go twice as fast. So eighth notes are twice as fast as quarter notes, which are twice as fast as half notes, which are twice as fast as whole notes. Now we can keep going from here. What if we cut eighth notes in half? That would give us 16th notes. Now we're going twice as fast again. Now we have ticky, 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 ticky. Here's a question for you. How many 16th notes can fit into 1 quarter note? If you said 4, you're correct. You can fit 4 16th notes in the same duration or the same beat, the same amount of time it takes to do 1 quarter note. Now, can you figure out how many 16th notes there would be in 1 half note? If you said 8, you're correct. Now, last of all, how many 16th notes can you fit in a whole note? If you said 16, you're correct. And that's why they're called 16th notes, because one of them is 1/16 of a whole note. Now, you're probably wondering, can we go even faster than this? And yes, in fact, you can. You'll notice that to go from 8th notes to 16th notes, we just added this extra beam. It's this second beam that makes these notes go twice as fast. So if we want to cut 16th notes in half, we could get 32nd notes, because then you'd be able to fit 32 of them in the same amount of time it would take to do a whole note. But that's so many notes, I couldn't even fit it on one of my cards. So let's look at it in this real musical example. You'll notice that 32nd notes have 3 beams instead of just 2. So if 16th notes go this fast, ticky, 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 32nd notes are almost too fast to even say. They'd be more like, and then yes, you can go even faster than that. If you add a 4th beam, now you're up to 64th notes. And I've even seen a piece of music that has 128th notes with 5 beams. Here's what that looks like. That's pretty insanely fast. But don't worry, you'll be playing that someday. Now, let's review all the names of the notes one last time. Say them with me. Whole note, half note, quarter note, eighth notes, and 16th notes. Now I'm going to scoot all of these notes over so we can also take a look at their corresponding rests. Each rhythm has kind of like a twin brother that gets the same value as the note. For example, the whole note, which is 4 beats long, has a whole rest as like its lazy twin brother, lazy because it's always resting. The whole rest can mean 4 beats, but it can also just mean rest the whole measure. And sometimes if a measure only has 3 beats or 2 beats, you would still use a whole rest. It just means rest the whole measure or for 4 beats. The half note also has a twin brother, the half rest. Here's a little trick to tell the difference between a whole rest and a half rest. A whole rest kind of looks like a hole in the ground. A half rest looks like a hat, and hat sounds like half. So the half rest gets 2 beats, just like a half note. And a quarter rest gets 1 beat, just like a quarter note. An eighth rest gets half of a beat. And then if we wanted to rest for just 1/16th value, we'd have a 16th rest, which is 1/4 of 1 beat. It's a very quick rest. Let's review the names of all the rests. Say them with me. Whole rest, half rest, quarter rest, eighth rest, and 16th rest. Great, now let's try some rhythm math. Okay, for this rhythm math game, I'll put some rhythms up here, and you have to figure out how many beats together they are worth. So I'll help you with this first one. The quarter note is worth how many beats? If you said 1, you're correct. What about the half rest? It's worth 2 beats. So add up all the beats, 1 plus 2. The correct answer would be 3 beats. Now, here's one for you to do on your own. How many beats is this rhythm worth? If you said 3 beats, you're correct. 2 eighth notes equal 1 beat. These 2 eighth notes equal a beat, and this quarter note equals a beat. So the correct answer is 3. How many beats in this rhythm? If you said 5, you're correct. 4/16th notes together equal 1 beat. 1 beat plus 2 beats plus 1 more beat equals 5 beats. Let's try one more. How many beats in this rhythm? If you said 6, you're correct. 4 for the whole note, plus 1, plus 1. Now let's try another game. This game is called Missing Bar Lines. I give you a time signature and a rhythm, and you have to figure out where the bar lines go. To help with this, you'll need to look at the top number of your time signature, which is 3. It's telling you there'll be 3 beats in every measure. Can you figure out where the first bar line goes and point to it on your screen? If you're pointing here, you're correct. The half note gets 2 beats. Then these 2 eighth notes equal 1 beat. And we need 3 beats in a measure. So 2 plus 1 more, then we need our first bar line. Now, can you figure out where the next bar line would go and point to it? These 4/16th notes make a beat. These 2 eighth notes make another beat. 2 beats isn't enough for a measure. It might feel like we should end a measure at the end of a line, but it is possible for a measure to go off one line and start on the next. So we have 1 beat, 1 beat, 1 more beat with this quarter note, then we're ready for a bar line. Now, can you point to where the next bar line goes? If you're pointing here, you're correct. Now, can you point to where the next bar line goes? If you're pointing here, you're correct. And where should the last bar line go? If you're pointing here, you're correct. And since this is the end of our rhythm, we would want a double bar line. Great, let's try another. Okay, here's the next one. Can you tell me what the time signature is? That's right, it's 5/4. So, can you show me where the first bar line should go? If you pointed right here, you're correct. Whole note is 4 beats plus 1 more beat for the quarter note. Now, point to where the next bar line should go. If you're pointing here, you're correct. 1 plus 2 plus 2 makes 1 full measure. Where should the next bar line go? If you're pointing here, you're correct. And since it's the end, we'll need a double bar line. For fun, let's try speaking this rhythm. Can you point on your screen and say the rhythms with me? Ready, go. 4, ta, ta, 2, 2, ti, ti, ta, ti, 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 rest. Let's try another one. Here's the next one. What's your time signature? That's right, it's 4-4. So can you point to where the first bar line goes? If you're pointing here, you're correct. Where's the next one? If you're pointing here, you're correct. And where's the next bar line? That's right, it's here. And the final bar line? That's right, it would go right here. Double bar line to show we're done. Nice work today learning about rhythms and how they relate to the beat. For even more practice with rhythm and beat, you can download some rhythm activity pages from our website as part of the complete materials for this unit. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Hey brother, half rest. Come on, time to get up. Let's make some music together.
No way. I'm sleeping in today. Just leave me alone.
You've had enough rest. Half rest? Half rest? Can you hear me? Ugh. I guess I'm gonna have to make music all on my own again. You know, it's not fair. I always make the music. He always gets to rest. I hold my note for 2 beats. He gets to rest for 2 beats. I'm gonna go find quarter note. He'll make some music with me.